Chapter 5 of Class 11 Psychology. Knowing the world. Our senses have the ability to convert the real world information into electrical information that can be processed by the brain. The way we interpret this information is our perceptions, and it is what lead to our experiences of the world. We will see this in detail. Before that, please remember to subscribe the channel. Thank you. Sensation and perception. The physical process during which our sensory organs, those involved with hearing and taste, respond to external stimuli is called sensation. So, sensation is a physical process and it involves sensory organs like our ear, our tongue, our eyes, etc. And these sensory organs, they respond to external stimuli, and that process is known as sensation. For example, sensation happens when you eat noodles. Then you feel the wind on your face. That is another sensation. And you can hear a car horn honking in the distance. So these are certain examples of the sensation. During the sensation, what happens is our sense organs, they are engaging in transduction. Transduction is the conversion of one form of energy into another. That is, the physical energy such as the light or a sound wave, it is converted into a form of energy the brain can understand. So in this process of sensation, what happens? The stimulus is taken from the environment, and this is a kind of energy. It can be light, it can be sound, whatever it is converted into another form, to a form which our brain can understand. That is electrical stimulation. So once our brain receives these electrical signals, we make sense of all these stimulation and then begin to appreciate the complex world around us. And this psychological process, that is, we are making sense of the stimuli. This process is known as the perception. So sensation is a physical process, and the stimuli that we taken is then converted into electrical stimulus, and this is read by our brain and it is given some meaning, and this process, this psychological process, is known as perception. It is during this process that you are able to identify a gas leak in your home, or a song that reminds you of a specific afternoon spent with friends. How remarkable our senses are, right? For example, the human eye is capable of detecting candlelight from 30 miles away in the dark. That much powerful our senses are. We are also capable of hearing the ticking of a watch in a quiet environment from 20 feet away. How amazing is that, right? When we experience a sensory stimulus, if it doesn't change, if it is continuing, then we stop paying attention to it. That is why we don't feel the weight of our clothing, and we don't hear the sound of the projector in a lecture hall, because it is a continuous thing and we stop paying attention to that. Another example is, if you have tiny little scratches on the lenses of your glass, you stop paying attention to it. you are used to that stimuli. So when a stimulus is constant and unchanging, we experience sensory adaptation. That is, we will get adapted to that stimulus. So our sensory abilities allow us to experience the most enjoyable and most miserable experience. Whatever we experience, it can be enjoyable, it can be miserable, or it can be anything in between that. So our sensory abilities will help us to experience those things. Our eyes, our ears, nose, tongue, skin, etc. provide an interface for the brain to interact with the world around us. That is, our brain is interacting with the world through these sense organs. In the coming chapters, we will see all these things, all these sense organs, the detail of the sensation and the perception we will see in detail in the coming videos. What is attention? So the three main processes are the sensation, the attention, and the perception. So we have learned little about the sensation and the perception. So now we will move on to the attention. What is attention? When you are studying and a loud music is there from your neighborhood house, then what happens? You lose attention on your studies. So this is a divided attention and it will affect your studies. Attention has broadly three possible functions. It is a sensory filter. It acts as a response selection and it is a gateway to the consciousness. Attention is the ability to focus our sense on a particular object. Then it involves selectivity and it is influenced by physical and psychological factors. So attention is our ability to focus on our senses on a particular object, and based on that we internalize or select the stimulus. So that is attention. So why this sensation and perception is important in psychology? Because we use sensation and perception to understand the world around us. Without our senses and the way we are understand those senses, we would be unable to interact with the world. So without these senses and the perception, we won't be able to interact with the world around us. All the human get the same sensory information, but we all perceive that into differently. The way we perceive the things around us is different. The knowledge of the perceptual psychology helps in everyday life and in learning how to improve our attention and perception. So by acquiring the knowledge of the perceptual psychology, we can improve our attention and perception. So hope you like this video. Please share and subscribe. Thank you and keep smiling.